Caleb is with us in Toledo, Ohio. Hi, Caleb. How are you?
I'm doing great, Dave. Thanks so much for taking my call. It's an absolute honor.
Wow. Honor to speak to you, sir. How can we help?
Well, like I said, my name is Caleb, and I own a small lawn company in Toledo, Ohio. We have 2 crew members, and I'm the third. Our revenue is just under $400,000 a year, and I'm having a problem because I think it's because we're so small. But earlier this year, I had to let a member go without a lot of notice because he called off on a Monday without any notice, and I looked over his past over the past couple of weeks. It was his first 30 days, and he had been coming in late multiple days, and so I just made the call to let him go. But that left us in such a lurch that I was working until 10 o'clock each night. I'm looking for a little bit of insight to know what you do when you know that a member is not right, but you can't backfill for them as you let them go. Do you keep them on?
No, you fire them.
Performance?
No, you fire them.
Or
it's a disease in the culture of your organization. If you tolerate this, you're giving a signal to everyone else that this is okay.
That's why I made that call.
Yeah, you made the right call. You made the right call.
Okay.
The problem is when you have 3 people and you fire someone, you fired 33% of your labor force.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is the ratio. Like you said, it's because you're so small, you feel it. I mean, if you got 10 people, you fire someone, you lost 10% of your, of your productivity, hypothetically. Now, you did not lose 33% of your productivity because this joker don't even show up for work. So he wasn't doing much to start with. So we might have lost 20% of our productivity, but we didn't lose 1/3 of it because he wasn't carrying 1/3 of the wood. Agreed?
Agreed. Yeah,
Okay.
We got it done, but it took us,
So,
time.
The trick here is hiring, and they were in their first 30 days, and so what you discovered was that you made a bad hire.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a probation period when someone comes on at Ramsey for 90 days. In the first 90 days, we have a low obligation to you. And you have a low obligation to us. So you don't have to give us 2-week notice. We've had people that just sent an email and didn't come back the next week. That's fine.
Okay.
In the first 90 days, it's kind of tacky, but it's, whatever. In the first 90 days, that's fine. I'd rather know then than I invest in you for a year and a half or 2 years and then you screw off like that. So, no. I mean, in the first 30 days like that, you discover the guy, he don't want to work much. You heard a lazy guy.
Yeah, or an uncommitted at a
minimum, a party animal who's hungover and don't get out of bed in the morning to come work. I mean, I don't know what it is, but you got a bad dude, so you cut him loose. You did exactly the right thing. The problem is it's just hard because, now you got to go backfill, and hiring when you're that small is you have to take time off from work to actually interview.
That's true, and I don't have a lot of time too, and
and so you can make the mistake of being too rushed and hire another doofus because you were too rushed in the interview process.
Yeah, how do I avoid being desperate in the interview process when I'm meeting them before work and I'm staying out until 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah. You make an emotional decision that in spite of the strain, you're not going to be desperate because it's kind of the grandma's thing, anything worth doing is worth doing right. Because if you don't do it right, you get to do it again. And you're going to do this, if you hire improperly, you're going to do it over and over and over again, right? So it's easier to slow down. Let's say you take twice as much time to interview, and that's super inconvenient, but you get a good person. Or you spend half the time, and you go through 4 of them before you get a good one. Well, it's easier to get it right the first time and take extra time. So we spend an inordinate amount of time interviewing, re-interviewing, talking more, thinking about it, talking about it in different settings. I mean, I swear it's easier to get on with the FBI than it is at Ramsey because we put folk through the ringer, man, because we don't want crazy in the building. And Crazy's hard to deal with. They're expensive. And so, it takes up extra time. You got to fool with it. And, oh, God, man. But in the first 90 days, I have a low obligation. They have a low obligation. You should adopt that, and you need to slow down. You need to take more time. I'm sorry, Caleb. I wish there was a magic wand, but you're at a very tough stage of business right now, at this treadmill stage, where you are everything's so dependent on you. The revenue production, the actual service production, all of that is so dependent upon you. You've not gotten big enough yet to where you are working on your business instead of in your business. You're still working in it all the time. And you've got to get some folks on this team. You got to get your revenues up a little bit more so that you can get some breathing room, so that every time someone leaves, it's not a crisis. And, we've got about 1,100 folk here. And it's sad for me when someone leaves that's been here a long time, but we backfill that work in about 38 seconds. And so we just keep rolling because we have to, and it's really, we don't notice. But I remember when I had 10 people and I fired one. Oh, man, shook the whole place up. I remember when I had 5 people and somebody quit. I cried. I'm like, oh, God, now I got to go do all this work. No. I remember that. It's no fun. So it's a much easier thing to move on up through the stages of business and get enough team doing production and enough production going on that you can afford that you're able to work on the business, not just in it, as Gerber says in the book E-Myth. So be sure and check that book out, by the way. That's a good thing to think about. But that's what we're facing here. There we go. Wow. If you want to participate in this show, we'd love to have you. 844-944-1070. Give me a call. We'll help you out. This was the EntreLeadership Podcast.